Straight ahead on 12 News.
This is a really popular dish because of the combination of flavors.
Meet a Brooklyn Park native who's become a YouTube cooking sensation. Plus, hauling hazards that are a daily occurrence on local roads.
It's a very high-risk situation.
But first, expensive repairs caused by vandals. 12 News starts right now. Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us. The cleanup bill will be in the thousands to remove graffiti at a park in Brooklyn Park.
A Jewell Park near the Mississippi River was hit by vandals over the weekend. Today, city officials started costly repairs. Reporter Sonia Goins has more.
Jewell Park has many amenities, a nature area, playground, and picnic shelters. But sometime Saturday night, vandals turn the park into their personal canvas, painting it with profanity.
We come here every day.
And Landy was surprised to see the damage.
I thought kids had too much time on their hands, and it's disgusting. And when you bring small children here, yeah, it's terrible.
She's glad her 2-year-old grandson can't read the messages.
If he was any older, I probably would have turned around and not come, because we don't want him to see stuff like this.
The vandals use bright fluorescent spray paint to target the area.
Take the building, they take the windows, they take the concrete, the playground. They were busy.
Park officials say they are used to seeing this kind of thing when school lets out.
My first observations tell me it's probably young kids. Nothing looks to be gang related, it's just blatant vandalism.
Meanwhile, crews spent the day trying to get rid of the mess. They applied paint remover and will later come back with a power washer. Removing the graffiti is not only time-consuming, but it can be costly too. If workers can't remove the graffiti, they're going to have to repaint the whole building.
This could be an upwards of $5,000 damage when you consider the labor and the materials to clean it up.
Park goers are hoping that people responsible get caught.
Obviously, they should be prosecuted if you can find them, but unless you have cameras on the trees, you're not going to know who they were.
In Brooklyn Park, Sonia Goins, 12 News.
If you have any information on the vandalism, you're urged to call Brooklyn Park Police.
It seems cliché, lock your doors and keep valuables out of sight, but forgetting to do so makes life much easier for burglars. In New Hope, there have been 10 burglaries in the last month, and amongst almost all of them, there was one common factor: burglars gained access through an unlocked door. And police say they include 3 instances where burglars entered homes while people were sleeping. In one case, a person's vehicle was stolen from an attached garage. Well, now to a problem on the roads that the Minnesota State Patrol says is a daily occurrence.
Falling debris from vehicles can lead to tragic consequences. 12 News reporter Eric Nelson joins us with more. Eric?
Yeah, Alex and Mike, this focus on securing your load was started by Robin Abel of Seattle. In 2004, her daughter Maria was injured when an unsecured 40-pound board fell off a U-Haul trailer and crashed through her car window. The freak accident left Maria blind. Now, the Minnesota State Patrol wants drivers to know that unsecured loads can have tragic and even criminal consequences.
We know that these objects in the roadway are going to cause a hazard to motorcyclists, to vehicles swerving, and they're going to suddenly swerve into a lane adjacent to them to avoid that object. It's a very high-risk situation. So we respond lights and sirens to remove these objects.
The most common items found on Minnesota highways are ladders, lawn chairs, and mattresses. Minnesota law requires that a load is secured. Lost loads are a daily occurrence, and state troopers respond frequently to debris on metro area highways.
It is very common, and motorists are most at risk for damaging their vehicles. That's typically what we do see. But there are cases where people are seriously injured or killed, either trying to retrieve it or having to stop in a lane of traffic and getting struck by a vehicle that doesn't know what's happening in front. So very dangerous. Things happen very quickly when loads are lost.
The Minnesota State Patrol recommends using tow straps to secure your load or put the items in an enclosed vehicle. Now, drivers cited for lost loads will get a citation. They can even be charged with criminal vehicular homicide if a lost load kills someone on the highway. Mike and Alex.
All right, thank you. Newer cars come with safety and technology upgrades, but the improvements also mean a learning curve for firefighters.
In New Hope, firefighters demonstrated extrication techniques as part of City Day over the weekend. Firefighters say electric cars have created some new challenges.
We don't know if they're always running, so we try to make sure that anything that can be disconnected when it comes to shutting the ignition off, we do. Whether it means removing the keys completely from the car and getting them away from the scene, or disconnecting them. Some cars have disconnects in the trunks that we can pull out.
Airbags are also a concern, especially if they don't go off during the initial crash. Firefighters must make sure they don't set them off when they're cutting people out, causing further injury.
The Muslim holy month of Ramadan is now underway. Prayer rooms like this one in Brooklyn Center will be filled after sundown. It is a time of self-sacrifice, discipline, and charity work. This year, the Minnesota Council of Churches is inviting members to display yard signs wishing Muslims a blessed Ramadan. A Brooklyn Center Muslim leader says it's an important gesture.
We saw the flyer from the Council of Churches trying to send to their membership, all of the churches in Minnesota, for them to plant those signs in their, not inside or bulletin board, but in the yard. That's something that has placed Minnesota in a special place in the nation.
During Ramadan, Muslims abstain from eating, drinking, and smoking from sunrise to sunset.
It was the weekend of a lifetime for a Maple Grove woman. Bridget Jacobs was not chosen as Miss USA during the competition in Las Vegas, but she says it was a remarkable experience to work with 51 other contestants for 2 weeks leading up to last night's pageant.
Preparing for Miss USA was unlike anything I've ever done before. I really worked on current events. I worked on my interview skills and projecting myself so that total strangers could get to know me in 2 minutes in my interview. And I think I am totally prepared for a lot of things in life now, just having prepared for the Miss USA pageant.
Judges asked Bridget about pay inequality in the workforce during her interview, as well as about Harry Potter, since she calls herself a Harry Potter geek. Bridget will serve about 5 more months as Miss Minnesota USA. Coming up, a 40th birthday celebration in an industry where reaching that milestone isn't easy.
Then later in sports, Hopkins and Armstrong battle for a section championship on the softball diamond. We'll have the highlights.
But first, sunny and pleasant on Tuesday, but brace yourself for a heat wave later in the week. We'll be right back.
According to a study by Ohio State University, more than a quarter of all new restaurants don't make it past their first year in business.
So making it to the 40-year mark is no small feat. In this week's Business Matters, a look at the 40th anniversary of the Sunshine Factory and what's proved to be a winning recipe for the Plymouth restaurant. There we go. All right.
Enjoy. Thank you. Okay.
For years, the Sunshine Factory has been a staple in the Northwest Metro.
It was kind of my go-to place.
The Plymouth restaurant is a casual and friendly place where people can gather for a sandwich and a beer or for prime rib. And that's how it's been since 1976.
So you can see, yes, there were burgers, of course, the 70s salad bar. Had to have that.
Randy Rosengren's original menu has changed a bit.
Burgers were under $3.
Since he first opened the Sunshine Factory 40 years ago in New Hope, near 42nd and Winnetka.
We were young, a little foolish maybe, but we had done quite a bit of work looking at the community.
Back then, it started as a peanut bar, just as Jimmy Carter was running for office.
Jimmy Carter was a peanut farmer, and when he was elected president, the price of peanuts doubled. And so then we moved to popcorn. But originally we were a peanut bar, throw them on the floor and have some fun.
I had a job for many years where I was entertaining clients, and I would bring my clients to the Sunshine Factory in New Hope because it was just great food, a great ambiance.
Over the years, the Sunshine Factory grew into the community, building its reputation on good food, good service, and reasonable prices.
We try and offer value, and and stay close to our community, and we're not out chasing trends or fads. We try and stay pretty true to what we've always been.
They've also evolved with the times, downsizing 3 years ago to this new but smaller building in Plymouth.
We have to be more efficient, and we have to have tighter spaces, and anybody in our business would tell you that.
As it celebrates 40 this month, the Sunshine Factory is rising again with a formula for success. The Sunshine Factory is celebrating its anniversary with throwback pricing during the week of June 20th. Coming up, a Brooklyn Park native who has become a YouTube sensation for her cooking skills.
But first in sports, Wayzata and Hopkins meet in a low-scoring section baseball game. John Jacobson with that and more when we come back.
Wayzata's baseball team has spent a part of this season as the #1 team in Class 4A. The Trojans are a step closer now to reaching the state tournament. Wayzata faced Hopkins in the winner's bracket final of the Section 6 4A tournament. Tom Scoro, Wayzata starting pitcher, gave up a leadoff double to start the game, and he comes back to strike out the side. Alex Schwartz there out looking to end the inning. Top of the second, Morgan Holmes leading off for Hopkins. And he will drill one to deep left. It's over the head of Griffin Schneider and to the fence. Holmes will get into third base with a leadoff triple for Hopkins. He later scored on a sacrifice fly by Tommy Off, and Hopkins has a 1-0 lead. Same score. Bottom of the third, bases loaded for Wayzata. Schneider comes through at the plate, hitting one to left. This one will drop in and then bounce over the fence for a ground rule double. 2-run score. The Trojans have the lead at 2-1. Hopkins starter John Cook pitches well, allowing 5 hits in the game and those 2 runs, but it's not enough. Scoro works a complete game, giving up just the 1 run and 4 hits. Cameron Keenan with a nice running catch in center field to end the game. Wayzata wins 2-1. Hopkins lost to St. Louis Park in an elimination game, so it's Wayzata and Park for the section title Tuesday afternoon in Eden Prairie. In softball, Armstrong and Hopkins met up for the Section 6 4A title in a rescheduled game Saturday morning. Bottom of the first inning, Hopkins' Allie Reese strokes the hit. Hannah Kleiss comes around and slides in safely for the first run of the game. Bottom of the second, Mackenzie Merritt's single brings home Evelyn Barzak and Kleiss, and the Royals have a 6-0 lead. Fifth inning, Armstrong looking to rally. Kelly O'Keefe with a 2-out hit. Kaylin Leonard and Joyce Yellowhammer score, cutting the Hopkins lead to 7-2. Seventh inning, the Falcons get runners on second and third with a fly out to right field ends the game. Hopkins wins 7-2, and they advance on to the state tournament. Section champions will be crowned this week in prep lacrosse, with several local teams having advanced to section finals. In the Section 8 girls semifinals, Osseo-Park Center hosted St. Michael Albertville. Erica Edstrom will set up Rachel Manning here for the shot. And that's a 1-1 game as OPC ties it up. Margot Coombs gives it up here to Josie Rogers for a shot to make it 3-1 Osseo-Park Center. After the Knights battle back to tie it at 5, Hannah Foote finds Edstrom in close for the goal. And OPC has the lead for good at 6-5. Coombs scores one of her 4 goals here, and Osseo-Park Center holds off a late push from STMA to win it 8-7. 2 local teams went head-to-head in the other semifinal at Section 8. That's top seed Maple Grove hosted Wayzata. Highlights from the second half of this one. Emily Herdine of Maple Grove. Nice feed to Paige Cassable for the goal. Maple Grove leads 11-6. Haley Herdine will pick up an assist, giving it to Tina Campa for another Grove goal, and it's 12-6. Maple Grove. Wayzata will get one back. On this play, Izzy Shannon taking the long pass from Maddie Wolfsman. She goes in to score, and it's a 12-7 game. Lauren Kaufman will net one of her 4 goals here from the free position. Maple Grove is up 13-7. But the Trojans make it interesting. Ellie Olmanson to Meg Ransom. She scores. Wayzata within 13-9. Wolfsman will shake off a defender, shoot and score coming up here as Wayzata gets as close as 1 goal at 13-12, but that is the final. Maple Grove moves into the section final against Osseo-Park Center with a 13-12 win. Also, Wayzata plays St. Michael Albertville in the Section 8 boys final Wednesday at Park Center High School. The Section 5 semifinals in boys and girls lacrosse are tonight. We'll have a recap of those games Tuesday starting at 4 on 12 News. A busy week of sports and more state tournament action coming up with state tennis starting Tuesday morning.
All right, excellent. Thanks a lot, John. Still ahead, a cultural cooking lesson.
Yeah, we will meet a Brooklyn Park native known for her culinary skills on YouTube.
Welcome back. If you are ever at a dinner party and taste a food you enjoy, chances are you compliment the chef and then ask for the recipe.
But for one Brooklyn Park native with a knack for cooking food from the Laotian culture, she decided to share her recipes in a different way. As Delane Cleveland reports, her decision opened up a world of opportunities.
This is sticky rice, which is a staple of Lao food.
Christina Tia spends a lot of time in the kitchen.
So this is a red curry noodle soup called kapun.
About 4 to 5 times a week, this Champlain Park grad prepares meals that originate from her parents' home country of Laos.
There's chicken in it and kaffir lime leaves.
It's a cuisine that's not easy to find locally.
For authentic Lao food, I haven't been able to find a restaurant in the Twin Cities.
Which could explain why whenever she'd entertain, her cooking was well received.
It became one of those things where people started to ask me, like, how do you make this dish and how do you do this?
Rather than keep her recipes a closely guarded secret,
Today I'm going to show you guys how to make lapsine. If you guys don't know what that is,
she launched a YouTube channel.
I posted the most popular dishes, tutorials on how to make the most popular dishes on YouTube.
For the vegetables,
In the 3 years since launching House of Extia out of her Brooklyn Park home, she's put together more than 40 videos, collected nearly 5,000 subscribers,
the great thing about egg rolls is that
and her segments have amassed more than 200,000 views.
The biggest reward from doing all this is just knowing that it's valued, you know, and that people really do appreciate it.
That's what we're going to need.
That appreciation extends beyond people wanting to copy her recipes. Christina's videos caught the attention of a Lao chef in Washington, D.C., who offered her a job last month.
I'm basically going to be working with Laotian chefs around the country to showcase and spotlight the restaurants that have just been behind the shadows of Thai food.
The goal is to help bring Lao cuisine to the mainstream and in the process teach others about her culture through food.
There's history behind all of it, and it's history that I'm learning every day, and it's history that I want to be able to keep alive for my generation and the ones to follow.
In Minneapolis,
Can we eat now?
Delane Cleveland, 12 News.
Now let's eat. Christina posts new videos on her YouTube page every 3 weeks. She also has an accompanying Instagram page that she constantly updates with new photos and videos. To follow Christina, we have some links on our website at 12.tv. I have to say, it looked pretty good.
Yeah, she draws you in.
Really does. That's it for now. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
We will see you back here again tomorrow starting at 4.